We now join Dana White for his State of the UFC address.
The state of the UFC is strong. Shut the fuck up. It's time to move the UFC into new markets. We're gonna have fights in 953 countries this year. I don't give a fuck what the Culinary Union says. UFC 200 in Mogadishu is gonna happen. We're gonna add divisions to the organization. Not just the women's division, but 4 classes between lightweight and middleweight. We're souping up the broadcast team. I brought Howard Cosell back from the dead to do post-fight interviews for Fuel. And we got a fucking talking cheetah to sit alongside John Anik and Kenny Florian. It's fucking insane. The deal with Fox is going well. In addition to hitting all the key demos for our free fight cards, we've surpassed Two Broke Girls as the #1 comedy on Wednesday nights. Fuck you, Kat Dennings. We got a new UFC game out from EA, and we're currently developing a Call of Duty style game starring Steven Seagal and Anderson Silva called Hard Justice. We've also adopted a new policy regarding Hall of Famers and their access to UFC events. If you're in the Hall of Fame and your name does not rhyme with Candy Detour, you can now attend the events for free, and you're more than welcome to corner Ryan Couture. Zuffa bless America.
We now go to Strikeforce for the response to President White's speech. Pride? WEC? Bellator? Titties. Thank you. What's up, fight fans? Welcome to Triple THS. I'm the disc leader of MMA, Tommy Toehold. Today, the IOC loses their fucking mind, Cyborg talks babies, and Tough gets sleepy. Plus, viewer comment of the week. Let's do this shit! Fuck you, Rulon Gardner. Remember when everybody was psyched last summer about getting MMA into the Olympics? Let's got as good a chance as John Fitch winning knockout of the night now, because the International Olympic Committee, which I believe is currently headed by Lloyd Christmas and Harry Dunn, decided yesterday to give wrestling the Fredo treatment for the 2020 Games to better streamline the 32nd Olympiad. And by streamline, they mean suck balls the size of Mark Hominick's hematoma. Not to worry though, fight fans, badminton, beer pong, and freestyle patty cake will still be included on the roster. Wrestling, which has been an Olympic sport since people thought Liam Neeson threw lightning bolts at you if you didn't stab a goat to death in his honor, will now join tug of war and wave running as a sport deemed way too fucking awesome for the Olympics. As you can imagine, the internet's gone absolutely elephant shit insane over this news, and digital pitchforks and torches are being distributed at this very moment. But who's to blame for this loss of our favorite pastime every 4 years? Is it the injury bug? Maybe, but I can't help but think it has something to do with John Jones. Damn it, man. This is getting ridiculous. You blame me for everything. I was a wrestler in college. Wrestling's one of my passions. I've already said that it was a terrible decision by the IOC.
Yeah, tell that to Greg Jackson and the rest of your non-fight finishing friends.
Jackson fighters finish fights 60% of the time, which is actually higher than—
Don't say numbers to me, Jonathan. Isn't there a fight card you could be canceling right now?
You invited me here, and UFC 151 was like
165 days ago. 151, never forget, John. Never forget.
Whatever, man. Anything else, or can I go?
Yeah, you tapped a Vitor.
I hate you, Tom.
I know, John. I know.
You have tiny legs.
Spoiler alert! If you don't want to know what happened on Tough last night, earmuffs right now. This week's show kicked off with the return of Adam Sella, whose head was recovered and reattached with staples after being punted into orbit by Uriah Hall. Team Darkside went to work on Kevin Casey's ground game in preparation for his fight with Colin Hart, while Team Jones had a meeting mapping out who they would be fighting for the next 6 years of their MMA careers. That night, the Tough shenanigans began, with Casey chucking some TP into the bed of his upcoming opponent. At the weigh-ins the next morning, Hart showed his appreciation for the prank by letting Casey know he was #1. Back at the house, it looked like typical Tough mayhem would ensue, with broken doors and bros banging. But instead, a thoughtful conversation about their differences was had, and both fighters decided it was best to resolve the dispute in a civil manner. It's almost like people on this season were chosen for their talents and not for their ability to bong a leader of Bud Diesel. With the drama, we were set for a pretty exciting fight at the end of the episode, but it turned out to be a real grinder, with Hart keeping a dominant position over Super Akon Gracie for the majority of the fight. Casey apparently forgot to eat his Jimmy Dean breakfast sandwich that day because he was flat for most of the 10-minute fight, while Hart went straight from the octagon to train for his next fight by hopping on the treadmill, hitting the heavy bag, and planning out his UFC retirement speech because Team Jones really enjoys looking into the future. Lil JJ's got control of the matchups now, and next time we get to watch the douche-tastic Bubba McDaniels take on a guy who hasn't said 2 words since the show started. But the best part of the entire episode happened when both teams were sitting around and a freestyle battle rap broke out, with Kevin Casey going B-Rabbit on Hester and Gilbert. It looked like Adam Sella was going to make for great television 2 weeks straight by jumping in, but opted not to at the last second. So I thought I'd give him a shot right now. Get after it, Adam.
I'm Adam Sella. I'm a real nice fella. I'm gonna take your girlfriend, so don't be jealous. If you see me walking funny down the street, it's because Uriah Hall smashed my brain with his feet. Sorry, Adam.
It's the biggest female super fight since Gina Carano took on Beatrix Kiddo. And just like every other super fight not involving Frankie Edgar, probably ain't gonna happen. Cyberdyne Systems Model 101 has been off for a year since pissing tater tots. But with the suspension up, it looked like we'd finally get to see her fight the arm burglar Ronda Rousey for the bantamweight strap. Unfortunately, Cyborg has developed human emotions and claims dropping to 135 would affect her ability to make babies and rust the cogs and copper wiring that constitute her ticker. Not only that, but Cyborg's manager, Mr. Potato Head, is currently in the process of having the former Strikeforce champion released from Zuffa, as she doesn't want to fight at a weight lower than 140 and apparently doesn't want to fight for Invicta FC, setting her up with a bout in April against Relevancy. What is is your client gonna do if she doesn't fight for UFC or Invicta?
Man, I want me to tell me what you think. My client is the dominant women in the sports. She's done it in the 5 against Gina Carano, and she will again fight for 205, and even if it's not on Zuffa, she are the best fighter of the night that ever lived, Tommy. That ever lived.
What?
I have to protect my babies.
Viewer comment time! Each week I endure hundreds of harassing comments and tweets, and occasionally find one funny enough to be featured on this anime clusterfuck. This week's winner is Case Potatoes Jason Moles, who said, I'd rather wear Randy Couture's new cologne while getting kicked in the head by Uriah Hall than watch next week's Tommy Told episode. Now that is what we call high-level comedy. That's show, fight fans! Tune in next Wednesday when I shop for prosthetic arms with Liz Carmouche. Till then, follow me on Twitter for updates on my KDR, like me on Facebook to help me escape Mr. Bones' wild ride, check out my YouTube channel for past shows and bonus content, show my dude Scott Holtzman some love on Twitter, because he's gonna be rocking Triple THS on his banner at XFC 22, February 22nd. And be sure to visit all my awesome friends who know Batman's secret identity. Remember Triple THS, I'm Tommy Toehold, do a barrel roll!